that immigrants come over here and they don't know anything and they're dragging. Come from immigrants, including you, Tomi Lahren. She talks about those. What exactly are her skills?
Her second great-grandmother been here for 10 years, yet spoke no English. Oh my gosh. 19th census says Tommy's 3 times great-grandmother had been here 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak either. She doesn't even know her own history. She certainly doesn't know this country.
Sunny Hostin was blasted for what may be the height of hypocrisy when Tomi Lahren retaliated in the most brutal manner. Let's just say that Sunny's daring remark about Tommy's ancestry did not sit well. The receipts are nasty, and Tomi retaliated fiercely. Hold on, however, for there is still more drama to come. Is the shadow being flung? Superior. Your jaw will drop when you view the whole image because there is a lot more going on behind the scenes than anybody anticipated. Hold on tight, because we're going to go deeply into this problem, and the reality is much more juicy than you may imagine.
What led to that bashing on The View?
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history in hopes of digging up some kind of a gotcha moment, a gotcha angle to validate illegal immigration and open borders. And what she found was really shocking, guys. She found the family who came here in the 1800s from Norway and Germany, that they spoke Norwegian.
While you're relaxing and browsing through your feed, maybe amused by a few kitten videos, drama suddenly bursts into your life. Even though she isn't on The View, Tomi Lahren, the queen of unfiltered political commentary, finds herself drawn into a contentious argument that she didn't initiate. Or did she? Let's be honest. Most likely, she anticipated it well in advance. Still, as it develops, absolutely crazy. Here comes Sunny Hostin, a regular on The View, a program that, to be honest, is more about ambushing anybody who dared to believe differently than it is about views.
She's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took the news. Roll it.
Oh. I'm a little bit in shock. I just thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children.
Since making fun of someone's views seems to be the new national game, Sunny chose to make fun of Tomi Lahren on a recent episode. However, this was not a light-hearted joke. Not at all. This was a well-planned jab that had just the proper amount of venom and shade, even bringing up Tommy's family background. Let's be honest, Sunny's attempt to pull it off as a playful one-liner ended up sounding more like a velvet glove slap. The sting, but a smooth delivery. Very authentic. You see, Sunny added that delicate hue that only a pro can achieve to her remark.
You provide them with DNA, 23andMe, because I cannot believe the detail or background that they were able to get.
Well, I don't have to. She did all the research for me, so I'm sure my family is appreciative.
What about Joy saying, though, what are your skills? It's beyond research. It is personal. It is mean.
Well, of course, this is classical Joy Behar, but I would like to ask Joy Behar what her skills are. Perhaps we could swap stories. I know I watch Joy, and she seems like a highly skilled lady, but for her to attack me, that's really interesting. Those in glass houses should not throw...
A dash of just look at her, a hint of how could she think that, and the phony-friendly tone, oh come on, we're all just joking, right? Yes, no. That game is familiar to us. It's the traditional I'm joking, but I really want to destroy the energy that makes up your reputation. That's when everything went wrong. Due to Tomi. Not even The View featured her. Not even close to that set. However, she clearly heard the jab. You know it started a fire. Hostin as well. It sounds less like someone you want verbally punching and more like a town.
Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. And it is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity and she had no idea who she...
When someone comes after her, Tomi Lahren doesn't simply sit back and take it all in stride. That's what we know about her. Nope, Tomi is not quiet. She has the type of clapback power that strikes harder than your mother's slipper when you're caught stealing snacks at midnight. She has that quick trigger, no-chill intensity. She grabbed her digital loudhailer, social media, rather than waiting for an invitation on the View set. And believe me when I say that you do not want to be the target of Tomi's anger. Scorched earth tweets, postings, or articles that ignite timelines are what we're talking about. Imagine it, with a double espresso in hand, Tomi is typing frantically as if she were writing the next big hit novel, but instead of fiction, she is hurling a verbal bomb. Each and every word. Sharp. Each and every sentence. A straight blow. She's not only defending her position, she's taking aim at Sunny's always smiling, dishonest facade.
Criminals and immigrants being criminals. And I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is in and of itself, I think, xenophobic. And
take off your gloves. There were gunshots. Go for it. And in typical Tomi Lahren fashion, she did more than just retort to Sunny. She dismantled the whole story, fragment by fragment. Tomi went in with her trademark tongue-lash delivery, icy facts, and razor-sharp sarcasm. To put it plainly, this was not a let's talk it out over coffee situation. No. Like a pit bull on a tennis ball, Tomi jumped at the opportunity to exact digital retribution. Her arena is here. These are the moments she lives for. You prod the bear. She is waging a full-scale social media assault in addition to just screaming back. There was no in-person interaction, just a flurry of tweets, an angry Instagram tirade, and a word war so intense that a complete fire crew would be needed to quell it.
What she did is prove that my family came here legally, but what she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing in merit-based immigration. Again, she failed miserably. But this really isn't what she calls resistance genealogy. It's just another indication of Trump derangement syndrome. I really am happy, though, that she has such a fascination with family history, and I'm hoping that she will take on Elizabeth Warren's next.
Wow.
Even if Tomi wasn't on the stage, Sunny was probably going to regret she hadn't even considered her name. The gloves were long gone, the battlefield was prepared, and then what? One of the funniest internet brawls we've seen in a long time. What began as a passing remark escalated into a full-scale online dispute, and the greatest part? We had front-row seats for the whole event.
Not just me, it's anybody who advocates for merit-based immigration or has an issue with open borders. And again, just like you said, they don't seem to understand that we, on the right, believe in immigration. We understand that we are a nation of immigrants, and I am proud of my heritage. However, I do believe that the immigration crisis of today is apples to oranges from what it was in the 1800s when immigrants came to this country legally, were documented, worked for themselves, asked for nothing, and built a life and a family. That has nothing to do with the illegal immigration crisis of today that we must deal with. But they don't want to acknowledge.
Yes, you already know what's going to happen. As any self-respecting social media queen would, Tomi went directly to the battleground, using Instagram, Twitter, and any other platform where her voice would be heard the loudest. No calls. No courteous emails. Just a quick, no-holds-barred post that was more powerful than a viral MIC drop. Let's face it, what about Twitter? Legends are created there. Tomi doesn't spend time on coffee selfies or cat memes. She is an expert user of her platform, which is a weapon. Tomi didn't just clap back when Sunny Hostin chose to make fun of her views, upbringing, and whatever personal grievances she may have had on The View. She gave it her all. This was an expose, not just a defense.
Democrats really want to die on the hill of bringing back planes of criminal, illegal alien gang members.
But you haven't proven they're criminals.
Please.
That's the problem.
Be my guest.
Honestly, like, look, I will be the first one to say if there is a criminal, if there's a gang member in this country, someone who has committed any crime, big or small, get him out. Sure, I'll absolutely concede that. We don't need criminals in this country. But if you're talking about somebody who you don't know because you haven't afforded them due process, then you can't make that claim.
But the fact remains, President Trump only securing our border, but he is deporting criminal, illegal aliens. And if Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and they want to tell their constituents, hey, vote for us in the midterms, vote for us in 2028, we'll make sure that the criminal aliens come back. Far be it from me and in your way. Continue that message. Best of luck with it.
Just before the last rose ceremony, she exposed Sunny's hypocrisy like a reality TV villain revealing secrets. What did she say? A vicious combination of TED Talk and roast war. Her keys were virtually wailing for pity as she transformed a little slight into a full-scale takedown. Despite Sunny's brief appearance on The View, Tomi made sure everyone knew who really controlled the board. And, spoiler alert, she isn't playing checkers. On The View, Sunny Hostin enjoys playing the role of the moral compass. She is always on her horse and gives life advice as if she were giving a strolling TED Talk. She's the kind of person who will scowl at you and lecture you on how to be a better person. However, when you zoom in, Tomi Lahren is here with the wrecking ball as the shiny pedestal begins to fall apart. Tomi didn't mince words. She drew attention to Sunny's inconsistencies in real life and the stark contrast between her public image. Let's face it, The View isn't exactly a paragon of consistency or political purity, despite Sunny's fondness of positioning herself as this faultless voice of progressive goodness. Have we all easily forgotten the confusion, the inconsistencies, and the continual reversals? Tomi certainly didn't. Serving premium shade, she brought the receipts, brushed them off, and placed them down one by one. Because Tomi Lahren's clapback isn't simply an expression of disagreement, it's a statement so incisive that it might shatter glass. This is when things become very hot. Not only did Tomi expose Sunny's hypocrisy, but she completely changed the course of events. Tomi plunged in, unashamedly embracing her origins rather than avoiding them. Is it political? Individual? Didn't matter. She pointed out with pride that, in contrast to Sunny's neatly constructed picture of moral superiority, her family's values have always been strong and stable.
Even love? Of course I do, but I want to get to your question because the whole Trump is anti-woman thing, I just don't buy it. If he was so anti-woman, why did he select a female to run his campaign? If Kellyanne Conway had been a Democrat, you all at this table would have been applauding her, singing her praises. So if he doesn't like women, he's anti-woman. I don't think he would have selected a woman to
That's like
run
saying
his campaign.
And being an anti-Semite. It has nothing to do with
I trust women.
No, I think there's something to say. You're putting your money where your mouth is. Putting your money where...
Tomi stood strong and rooted in her truth, not only talking the talk but doing it all the way, while Sunny was over on The View, portraying herself as enlightened and seemingly above the drama. Imagine this. With a sly smile, Tomi essentially said, before disparaging someone's heritage, perhaps check your own wardrobe because those skeletons are rattling. Sunny, check your mirror. Tomi didn't stop there, however.
I have a question of my own. Do you lock your doors at home? At your residence, do you have a lock on your door? Do you use that lock?
I do.
You have an alarm?
And why is that? I mean, you lock your door because you want to know who's coming into your home. It's not because you hate the people outside, it's because you love the people inside. Well, that needs to be done with the United States of America. That's why we have a border. We hate to know who's coming into our country and why.
She aimed directly for The View, and wow, she didn't pull any punches. Let's face it, the program is more of a carnival of pandemonium masquerading as academic discussion than a chat show. It's where dramatic pauses are regarded as Oscar moments and opinions fly like dodgeballs. It seems like someone is only one emotional outburst away from declaring they have the solution to global peace in every episode, but, spoiler warning, they haven't. Tomi did more than simply make fun of Sunny. She had a screaming side eye during the whole performance. Tomi was out there flipping the script, dropping facts, and making it very apparent that if The View wants to criticize her, they had best get ready for the storm she's about to unleash. Sunny, on the other hand, believed she was dropping truth bombs on national television. It's becoming a little too real now, so Sunny may want to Google hypocrisy. And as if there wasn't already enough drama on the internet, Tomi's online altercation quickly turned into a full-fledged social media conflagration. It was like a Pandora's box was flung open, but instead of mayhem, there was an endless stream of hot opinions, memes, and combative keyboard warriors. The internet exploded, with Sunny's supporters retaliating with all of their might while Tomi's supporters rallied behind her like a group of energized cheerleaders. Sunny's supporters were likely searching the View archives for ammunition. Twitter. It served as a battlefield. The Sunny's The Real Victim crew and the Tomi is a Queen army were engaged in combat. It was chaos. The worst part, however, is that this entire event grew into something far more significant than The View. It was no longer simply about one program, it developed into a full-fledged debate on how prominent individuals use their platforms to disparage one another, revealing the real character of political discourse in the current digital era. Everyone had something to say, from right-wing pundits to left-wing bloggers, and this argument became a heated political argument about how public people respond to personal insults and, more crucially, how they safeguard their reputation. Because, let's be honest, your brand is constantly at risk if you have an online presence. What about this drama? One thing became brutally obvious as a result: Tomi's strategy for handling public disputes goes beyond simple clapbacks. Social media is being used by her like a well-honed weapon. She wasn't only protecting herself when she publicly challenged Sunny, she was also taking charge of the story. Whether you like her or not, there's no denying that Tomi is a superb manipulator of the media. She has discovered the ideal method to make her brand memorable and to magnify her voice in a world where internet echo chambers rule.